Today we're going to be walking you through one of our demo systems that we have on the screen here. Please do keep in mind all the elements you see today are meant to serve as examples of what you could potentially have in your own system. The demo system was put together based on some sample work that we've done for other clients. So everything you're about to see, the colors, the branding, the logos, terminology, the questions are all examples only. Now we're going to be going through the demo as if we're going through a life cycle of a grant, starting from when an applicant comes to your system to register all the way out until you close out a grant. So as an applicant, I come to GMS 360 homepage. So they have your own colors, branding, and logo on it. I can go ahead as an applicant and put in my email and password if I remember them, or I can go ahead and do a forgot password if I forgot my password, or I can create a brand new account if I'm new to the system and this is my first time. So when I click register in SmartSimple's GMS 360, there are two options. I can register as an applicant who's applying on behalf of an organization, or I can register as an applicant that is applying as an individual. Now, this all depends on your business process. If you don't fund individuals, you simply would not have the second option that you have here. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to assume that I'm an applicant that is applying on behalf of an organization. So when I click organization and contact, I get the option to retrieve my profile from the IRS. As you can see, I can't actually type in my organization details. This is because you probably want to check that they have a 501c3 designation and they're in good standing with the IRS. So I'm going to click search IRS database. I get the IRS search screen. I can go ahead and search by EIN, name, address, or city or state. Here I have a sample EIN that I'm using in the demo. So I put in the EIN, I click search, and I just went through 1.8 million records in the IRS database. I found the organization record I was looking for. I click it, and all that information is brought over from the IRS right into SmartSimple. And then the next step in the process as an applicant, I can go ahead and fill out the contact information section, click submit, and instantly I will receive an email that contains my username and password. Here I'm showing you an example of the IRS database. We're also able to work, if you do any funding in Canada, for example, we're able to use the CRA database to pull in organization information into the sign up page. If you work in the UK, for example, we're able to integrate with the UK Charity Commission, which again will bring over the organization information from the Charity Commission database right into SmartSimple. Now as an applicant, I've received my email and password. I come back to the system and I log in. And when I log in with my applicant credentials, I am now logged into the applicant portal. Now on the applicant portal, I have three sections. The first section is a list of funding opportunities that are currently available to me as an applicant. Second section is the list of my applications, so I can track all of my application history, what I have in progress, what I submitted, what's been approved, closed, or declined. And on the third section, I see a list of whatever requires my attention. So that would be any progress reports, any final reports that are pending for this applicant to fill out. So I have the list of funding opportunities here. In the list of funding opportunities, I have programs that are available to me as an applicant. You can control the list of programs that are available to the applicant depending on the applicant type. So for example, you may have organizations that are government organizations or government agencies that are applying in your system for a grant, but they're only eligible for a subset of the programs that you offer. You may also have programs that are available for art organizations. So therefore, if I'm applying as an art organization, instead of taking a look at a whole list of programs that you offer, I would only see a list of programs that are applicable to me as an applicant. Now, I have an application that I was previously working on as an applicant here. So I'm going to click on this application. And what we're taking a look at right now is a sample application previously started by the applicant, but the applicant did not have enough time to submit it. So what I have here is an application form that's broken out into multiple tabs. We have clients that prefer to see the application form in multiple tabs, as you can see here, or we have clients that prefer to see the entire application form in one page. The tabs that you see up here are again something that we work with you to figure out how many tabs you need during scoping, and we also work with you to figure out how you'd like to break out your application. So most clients will have it so that they break out the project information on one tab, and then the organization information on another tab, and then project overview on a third tab, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm taking a look at this application from an applicant's point of view. So the first thing I want to point you to is that every application in SmartSimple has its own unique ID. So the format of the ID is again something that we work with you to figure out with you during the scoping process. So most clients will have the calendar year followed by a dash and some sort of unique ID for this one application form. You can have fields formatted in currency. You can have drop-down fields. You can have calendar fields to ensure everybody's putting in the same date format, and then later on it makes it easier for you to run reports and searches on these dates because you don't have to remember what the format was. The system will automatically remember the format that the date was entered in. You can also have attachments anywhere on your application form. So here I can have the applicant upload files by dragging and dropping from their computer right into SmartSimple. Now when it comes to document management in SmartSimple, there's no limit on how many files you can have uploaded into SmartSimple, and all the documents are virus scanned on upload, and they're indexed to give you the ability to be able to search through the PDFs and the text documents that are uploaded as well. For text fields, you can have character limits or word limits. Again, that's all based on preference. You can have fields that simply explain what the question is asking. Skipping over to the budget field. So if you currently require your applicants to upload a project budget when they're applying for a grant, we would simply take that budget template and we would configure it in SmartSimple for you. So in this section, all we ask the applicant to do is put in their revenues and expenses, and as you can see, the budget sheet here would automatically calculate the budget for you. Now, one thing to keep in mind, everything that you're able to do in Excel, you are able to do on these budget sheets right within SmartSimple. This gives you the ability to be able to search through the different budget sheets throughout multiple application forms in the system, and it gives you the ability to be able to use it in progress reports and final reports later on by referencing the budget that the applicant filled out during their application process and having them fill out an updated budget on their reports, for example, which is a practice that is very common by many of our clients. Now here's a more rigorous budget sheet. This is a budget, again, taken from one of the systems that we've configured for one of our clients. This is a budget that contains, for a project that contains multiple activities, in this case 5 activities, and the applicant just needs to fill out the different cells, as you can see. Now skipping over to the last field type I would like to show you in this demo, I have a question that asks, do you have a communication strategy? If I select yes, I get the next appropriate field that appears. If I select no, again a different field appears, and if I select not applicable, then nothing happens at all. And then once I click submit, the application is locked. The applicant receives an email that contains the PDF of the application and a confirmation that they have successfully submitted the application, which they can always track from their portal from the submitted tab. I'm going to log out of the applicant portal, and we're going to log in as a staff member. So I've logged into the system as a staff member. What we're taking a look at right now are a list of modules, as we call them in SmartSimple, that are available to staff members to use to track their process. Now, initially you may not need all of the modules that are up here, but what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to go through them to explain each one. Within the Submission Manager, this is where you would track all of your grant applications and all the application activities, such as payments, reports, whether it's progress reports or final reports, or reviews, for example. Within the Program Manager, this is the module that will allow you to control program availability, program deadlines, program descriptions, assigning staff members to programs. The Meeting Manager is the module that will allow you to create meeting documents, whether it's board book, a panel book. It can also allow you to invite users or board members or staff members to specific meetings by sending out the invitation right from the system. The Budget Manager can be used to track your foundation budget or your organization budget, whether it's broken out by program or by year. And the dashboards, which can help you, shows you a set of graphs that can help you analyze the data that's in your system, and we'll be going through that later on as well. Now within the Submission Manager here, I'm taking a look at a list of applications that are relevant, that have been submitted by applicants. So here I'm taking a look at a list of 33 applications that are sitting in the submitted status. And the next thing I would like to show you is the searching capabilities of SmartSimple. So what I would like to do right now, I would like to search for the word international across all of my submitted applications and across all of my programs. So I'm going to put in the word international, I click search, and I retrieved a search result of 7 different applications that contain the word international, and they're sitting in a submitted status. I can go ahead and export the list that I retrieved in my search result right into Excel by clicking on the export button, and this would export the results right onto Excel exactly how I'm looking at it in SmartSimple. And there we go. So I've exported the list right onto Excel. Now let's say you're trying to search for more than one keyword. This is where you would do an advanced search. And in the advanced search, you can add multiple line items, and you can search through every single field in your system. If you select a create a date field, you'll have the matching options, which will be on or before, on or after, within the next X number of days, or within the past X number of days. And then the searching options will change to reflect that this is in fact the date field that you're searching, and it'll give you the calendar option so that you don't have to guess what the date formats are on that field. If I select a numeric field, I'll get the equals, greater than, or less than options. If I select a field that contains a drop-down list or multiple options, for example, I will be able to search through the list of options that are available without having to remember what these options were, simply by selecting the field from my advanced search. You can always save a search as a filter, whether it's a personal filter just for yourself to use, or as a public filter for all the other staff members to use. And likewise with the views, if you don't like the data that you see in the columns here, you can create personal views just for yourself to see, or you can create an admin view for everybody else to have access to, assuming if you're the admin. The other thing you're also able to do in the list view is you can select applications, a batch of applications, and you can do a batch update. You can update the status of the applications. So here, for example, I have a list of applications that are sitting in the submitted status. I can go ahead and trigger the review process simply by updating the status of all these applications to review in batch. Or I can also go ahead and assign reviewers in batch, whether these reviewers are assigned as individuals or as groups. So if I'm assigning individuals, I can simply put in the name of the individual, select the reviewer role, then Aaron here will get an email letting him know that he's been assigned to review all of the applications I've selected. Or I can select groups, and you can have predefined groups that you can assign to review applications, whether it's your board members, or you have committee groups, or you have a set of staff members that you've designated as reviewers. So reviewer group 1, for example, or committee group, select reviewer, and as soon as I click update, everybody that is part of that group will receive an email to let him or her know they've been assigned to review the applications. Opening up one of the applications that have been submitted. As a staff member, we're taking a look at what the internal view of the application may look like. Now, I can go ahead and take a look at the answers that have been filled out by the applicant, and let's say at any point in time I need to send a note to the applicant that they need to revise their budget, for example. I can click on notes, select from one of my applicant types, one of my note types, and I can go ahead and send a note that says, for example, please revise your budget. And as soon as I click save, an email will be sent out to the applicant that lets him or her know that they need to revise their budget, with a link to the application right in that email. You can also, as a staff member, you have the ability to put internal notes only for internal staff members to see and have access to, and the notes are specific to every application that's in the system. Now, under the internal tab, you can have your payment scheduler, which will help you create multiple payments or a single payment, if depending on your payment process. But essentially, every line item on the payment scheduler will reflect a payment record in the system. So essentially, here I have 2 payments that have been created, one for $3,000, one for $4,000. We put in the scheduled date of the payments, And as you can see, you have the paid date, the check number, and the payment notes. The reason why these are blank, a staff member can then come back later on and fill out these dates once it's actually been paid. Or if we ever do an integration with your accounting software, these fields can automatically populate as a result of that integration. Now likewise with the reporting scheduler, you provide us with the reporting template, and every line item on here would reflect a report that is due for this applicant. So here I can put in a couple of deadlines, and as soon as I click save, that will trigger an email to the applicant to let him or her know that they have two reports that are due, one on March 23rd and the other one on April 20th. And you can set the reminders and the alerts for these reports as you wish, but most clients will do 30 days before the deadline and then 2 weeks recurring after that until the report is submitted. Now, once you decide to make a decision on the grant, you can go ahead and approve it. The system can send out an email letting the applicant know that it's been successfully approved, and of course all the email templates will be customized by you. Or likewise, if you decline the application, the system can send out an email as well. Now these are all functionalities that can be turned on or off, and that's something that we work with you to figure out during the scoping process. Moving on to the meeting manager. So let's say if you, in your organization, you do staff meetings or board meetings, and you need to have the ability to generate board books or panel books or meeting books that contain documents that are contained in the system. So let's say whether it's your applications or your staff recommendations or your review forms or any document that lives within the system, you can have it so that you click a button in SmartSimple and it will automatically pull in the PDFs of those documents, as you can see here. So here I have 10 application forms that are being reviewed in this document, and the PDFs of each application form pulling in to the system here. And finally, moving over to the dashboard. So you do have the ability to be able to graph items in SmartSimple. You can plot them on a map. So here, this is an example of a map that shows all the different approved grants in SmartSimple. So as soon as I click on that map, I can see the grant name, the grant, when the period it was active, and the program it was under. You also have the ability to have a bar chart and with drill down capabilities. So as soon as I click within one of the options, I can see the breakdown by status. I can go ahead and print the charts or download them in the different formats that you see here. Here's another example of the charting method that we have. So the pie chart in this case, I choose to group by state and the drill down to be city. And as soon as I click on one of the states that I have here, let's say California, I can see the breakdown of granting by city within the different areas that I have here. So this concludes an overview of our GMS 360 demo. Please contact us for a more personalized demo, how GMS 360 may be a fit for your granting process.